The moment SB19 stepped onto the AAA stage, reactions started forming in real time. Not just from fans, but from first-time viewers, international creators, and industry professionals watching closely. Clips spread across timelines, comment sections filled with surprise, and one question kept appearing again and again. Who are they? That question matters, because it signals discovery. What unfolded on that stage wasn't about trends or algorithms, it was about presence, precision, and confidence at the highest level. This performance didn't ask the world to notice, it made noticing unavoidable. History isn't paused for viewers. Like this video to mark the moment SB19 set a new standard. Share it so the world sees how excellence crosses language and borders. And subscribe, because this isn't just music, it's the future of pop on a global stage. The AAA stage is not your typical music show, it's where Asia meets the world, where talent is measured not by fan votes, but by precision, stage command, and international standards. To understand the weight of SB19's performance, you first need to grasp why AAA matters. Behind the cameras, the audience isn't just screaming fans, it's producers scouting future tour acts, label executives evaluating market viability, choreographers benchmarking artistry, and global promoters seeking acts that can transcend borders. Performances here are judged differently. It's not about flashy trends or viral moments, it's about sustained excellence under pressure. While weekly music shows celebrate popularity, is where the industry takes notes, recording which acts are ready for the global stage. A single misstep here can be magnified, but flawless execution can rewrite a group's trajectory overnight. The distinction is critical. Attendance doesn't equal impact. Thousands can watch a live stream, but the insiders watching from the wings are the ones shaping opportunities, collaborations, and international deals. When SB19 took that stage, they weren't just performing. They were sending a statement to the industry. Take note, this is a group that belongs in the conversation, not just in headlines. A doesn't crown trends. It signals who the world must take seriously, and SB19 made sure all eyes were locked on them. Before the AAA stage, SB19 was no stranger to scrutiny, but they carried a quiet confidence that only years of preparation can bring. Unlike system-built groups with immediate media hype, SB19 rose from independent roots, honing their craft relentlessly while staying true to their identity. Their reputation was built not on algorithms, but on vocal credibility, tight choreography, and consistent professionalism, qualities recognized by insiders even when mainstream media barely noticed. They arrived at not as hungry newcomers, but as artists carrying the weight of expectations, not only for their own legacy, but for representing Kpop on a global scale. Every note, every formation, every pause had been tested countless times behind closed doors, in rehearsal rooms, and in regional performances. Their journey had been gradual, deliberate, and intensely disciplined. A stark contrast to groups launched with heavy marketing but little groundwork. This context matters because it frames their AAA performance as more than just a spectacle. SB19 wasn't chasing validation, they were delivering proof. Insiders had watched, analyzed, and respected their artistry for years, even if the world hadn't caught on yet. And on that stage, the quiet preparation transformed into undeniable authority. Signaling that SB19 wasn't entering the conversation, they were reshaping it. The audience didn't just witness a performance, they witnessed the culmination of a journey defined by skill, resilience, and readiness. On the AAA stage, SB19's performance didn't just look flawless, it was a masterclass in technical precision under pressure. Every note carried weight because they were performing live vocals under intense physical strain. Choreography that demanded split-second timing didn't compromise their pitch or energy, proving they could sing and dance at world-class levels simultaneously, a feat few groups achieve. Synchronization was another highlight. Each member moved as a single unit, yet maintained individual presence, showing confidence in their own artistry without blending into anonymity. This balance between cohesion and individuality is what separates headline acts from supporting performers. Stage command was unmistakable. Every gaze, every gesture, every formation felt intentional, not rehearsed for cameras. Observers noted it wasn't just performance, it was leadership of the room. a quality that reads differently from someone just following choreography. This performance didn't scream for attention, it demanded respect. It was the difference between viral moments for clicks and historic moments for industry recognition. Fans may replay a flashy move, professionals take notes on technique, control, and artistry. By the final beat, SB19 had demonstrated not only skill, but the presence and authority of a headliner, signaling to insiders and fans alike, this group doesn't perform. They own the stage. Every legendary performance has a pivot, a moment where the energy in the room shifts and you can feel history unfolding. For SB19 at AAA, that moment wasn't a dramatic flourish or pyrotechnics, it was a subtle but seismic recalibration of attention. Mid-performance, the audience stopped reacting predictably. Screams faded into focused watching as if everyone collectively realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Cameras shifted, catching close-ups of expressions that spoke more than applause ever could. Jaws dropped, eyes widened, phones hesitated before recording. The room paused, not in confusion, but in recognition. That split second of quiet wasn't absence. It was weight, presence, and authority asserting itself. When the final note landed, the applause that followed wasn't immediate. It grew, delayed, and layered, reflecting the depth of realization. Insiders and casual viewers alike understood that what had just occurred wasn't just entertaining, it was transformative. Every timing, every gesture, every note had built to a silent acknowledgement. SB19 had not only delivered perfection, they had shifted the room's perception of what a Kpop act could achieve globally. By the time the cheers rose, the change was irreversible. You could feel it. The room recalibrated its expectations in real time. It wasn't about hype, it was about an indelible moment of respect and recognition. And everyone present knew they had just witnessed history being written live. The post-AAA reaction wasn't merely a spike in social media chatter, it revealed a pattern of recognition that transcended fandom. International reactors who had never encountered SB19 were stopping mid-sentence to comment on their precision, vocal control, and stage presence. Unlike viral clips that thrive on hype, these reactions came from audiences analyzing skill, timing, and artistry, not clicks. Industry professionals joined the conversation quietly but deliberately. Choreographers, vocal coaches, and tour promoters weighed in, noting technique over spectacle. Their assessments weren't about trends. They were about the mechanics that make an act globally sustainable. This validation is far more telling than any algorithm-driven viral moment because it signals long-term credibility rather than ephemeral attention. Media outlets amplified this narrative. Headlines didn't just celebrate a performance, they framed SB19 as a symbol of Kpop's global emergence, emphasizing representation over novelty. Across continents, the same story repeated. SB19 wasn't just entertaining, they were setting a benchmark for professionalism and artistry. The insight is clear. Virality fades. Patterns endure. While short-term hype may spark curiosity, it is consistent recognition from peers and professionals that shapes a group's legacy. SB19's AAA performance didn't just go viral, it created a global signature moment, one that ensures their presence will be analyzed, remembered, and referenced for years to come. Not all breakout performances leave a lasting imprint. Some dazzle in the moment but fade without substance. SB19's AAA performance was different. It didn't rely on spectacle alone, it combined sustainable artistry with immediate impact. While flashy debuts grab attention for a week, this performance demonstrated technical mastery, stage command, and vocal authority that professionals recognize instantly. The difference lies in balance. Many acts lean heavily on visual shock or social media hype. SB19 balanced this with precision and musical integrity. Every movement and note felt deliberate, measured, and executed to global standards. The audience didn't just react, they absorbed the performance, recognizing skill that is consistent, not gimmicky. Endorsement came from professionals, not just fans. Choreographers praised timing, vocal coaches highlighted control, and promoters considered future tours. The performance didn't ask permission to enter the global conversation. It behaved as if it already belonged there. This distinction is critical. Viral clips excite momentarily. Historic performances reshape perceptions. SB19 achieved the latter. Their AAA moment wasn't a gamble, it was a statement. Kpop can deliver artistry that stands shoulder to shoulder with international acts, not for a fleeting trend, but as a sustainable, credible, and globally resonant force. SB19's AAA performance wasn't just a display of talent, it was a symbolic moment for Southeast Asian artistry on the global stage. For years, regional acts were celebrated locally but overlooked internationally, often confined by language, geography, or preconceived notions about pop music from Asia. SB19 shattered those invisible barriers. Their performance proved that excellence speaks a universal language. Precision, emotion, and presence transcend words. Every vocal run, every synchronized move, every expressive gesture communicated a story that global audiences could understand intuitively. Language was no longer a barrier, it was a detail. What audiences witnessed was a regional act evolving into a global peer, commanding attention alongside performers from established international markets. Beyond music, SB19 became a representation of possibility. That dedication, creativity, and professionalism from Southeast Asia can not only compete, but lead on stages that historically overlooked the region. Their performance carried a quiet yet powerful message. Artistry does not require translation when it is executed with mastery. SB19's moment wasn't fleeting, it was proof that global recognition is not about where you start, but how you perform at your peak. On that stage, they didn't just perform, they redefined expectations, and in doing so, created a blueprint for other regional acts striving to reach the world. The impact of SB19's AAA performance extends far beyond applause and social media trends. Behind the cameras, industry insiders were taking detailed notes. For touring promoters, festival curators, and award organizers, SB19 signaled a group ready for international stages, capable of delivering consistent, high-caliber performances. Touring opportunities that may have seemed aspirational suddenly became viable. Festival invitations that once required years of networking were now possible introductions, thanks to verified stage authority. Even in branding and collaborations, perception matters. Companies, agencies, and creative directors now view SB19 not as a regional act-writing hype, but as a globally credible entity whose presence can elevate projects. Every nod of approval, every backstage mention, quietly compounds into long-term legitimacy. Opportunities that aren't announced, yet determine future reach and market influence. A doesn't just create headlines, it creates industry signals. A group that impresses here sets the standard, gaining leverage that can't be bought or faked. SB19's flawless performance functioned as both proof and invitation. Proof that they can meet global expectations and an invitation for decision-makers to invest in their trajectory. Some performances are ephemeral, others leave a permanent imprint on the industry's memory. SB19's AAA stage moment falls squarely into the latter. Elite platforms like AAA don't just host acts, they document them in the industry's long-term consciousness. First impressions here are monumental. Once insiders witness technical precision, stage command, and charisma at this level, it reshapes expectations, not just for the group, but for the entire genre they represent. Future SB19 appearances will now be judged against this benchmark. The standards they set are no longer aspirational, they are definitive. Every award show, every festival stage, every collaborative opportunity will reference the AAA performance as the baseline of excellence. This is why moments like this carry stakes beyond applause. They shift narratives permanently. Industry conversations that previously overlooked Kpop now include SB19 as a global reference point. The implications are clear. Once the world recognizes you as a top-tier act, there's no returning to emerging status. The doors that opened at AAA will remain open, but the expectations behind them are relentless. SB19 has redefined perception, established credibility, and set a new standard for their peers. Once the industry sees you this way, there's no going back to emerging. This is a watershed moment. It is historic, and it cannot be undone. The takeaway is decisive and viral ready. SB19 didn't just make history at AAA, they changed what history will now expect from everyone else. The performance is over, the applause will fade. But the impact resonates globally, permanently rewriting the narrative for the group, their genre, and anyone who dares to measure themselves against this new standard.